Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Books Podcast with your host, Gloria and Rogan. And today we're excited to dive into a special book with you. We've picked this one because it has some really important lessons to share, and we can't wait to talk about them. So let's get started. Ever feel like, there's this hidden rule book to power and nobody gave us the manual, right? Right. Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into today. We're diving deep into Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power, and we're going to decode some of those unspoken rules that are kind of swirling around us all the time.
Yeah, it's interesting. This book, it's often seen as this is for super ruthless people trying to climb to the top.
Yeah.
But honestly, at its core, it's really a study of just human behavior.
Yeah.
It's about understanding how these dynamics of power, they play out in every single part of life.
Yeah, absolutely. So not about transforming into some kind of Machiavellian scheme or anything like that.
No.
But it's more about, okay, let's understand the rules of the game so we can at least play it with our eyes open, right?
Exactly. Eyes wide open. And be conscious of it.
Yeah.
Whether it's at work, in our relationships, even just trying to understand historical figures, Greene gives us this really interesting framework to analyze these power dynamics.
I like it.
So, for example, let's jump right in. Law number 1.
Okay. Hit me.
Never outshine the master.
Ooh.
We often think about, okay, we got to showcase our talents, got to show them what we got. But Greene's like, whoa, hold on a second. That can actually backfire big time.
Right. Nobody wants to, most people don't want to be shown up by the person that they're supposed to be, the mentor to. Right?
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. I mean, think about it. Historically, somebody like Louis XIV, the Sun King, he had this incredibly talented finance minister, Nicolas Fouquet. And this guy decides to throw this lavish party showing off all his wealth, all his connections.
Oh, no, that's a textbook example of what not to do, right?
And Fouquet, maybe he thought, oh, I'm just, impressing the king, showing him a good time. But what he ended up doing, he made Louis XIV look weak by comparison.
Ouch.
And the result, well, Fouquet ends up imprisoned. He loses his position. He loses the king's favor. It all goes downhill from there.
So that's a pretty clear lesson right there. You got to be so mindful of those power dynamics at play, right? Even when you're coming from a really good place, right?
Absolutely. Good intentions only go so far.
Okay, so how do we actually walk that tightrope? Because it's okay, we want to demonstrate we're competent, we're here to do the thing. But also, we don't want to trigger all those insecurities in our superiors, right?
That's about being strategic, right? Instead of trying to outshine the master, reframe it. Think about framing your achievements as a reflection of their guidance.
Okay.
Highlight how your work contributes to their overall vision.
Yeah.
So it's not about you seeking that individual spotlight.
Yeah.
You're actually making them look good, not bad.
Subtle, but so important. And Greene, he doesn't shy away from some of the, maybe let's say, more pragmatic aspects of power, right? Like Law 11, learn to keep people dependent on you.
Yes.
Sounds a little ruthless when you say it like that, but I think there's something to be said here for specialization, like carving out that niche for yourself and becoming the expert, right?
Yes, 100%. And especially in today's world, it's not enough to just be good at a lot of things. You need to be the go-to person for something very specific. Think about it, right? If you were building a house, are you going to hire just a general contractor who's kind of okay at everything? Or do you want that master electrician who is the absolute best at wiring?
Yeah, you're going with the master electrician for sure.
Yeah.
Especially when it's something as important as wiring in your house.
Exactly.
Right.
So when you develop this unique skill set that's highly sought after, you become indispensable.
Yeah, you become the linchpin.
Exactly.
Love that.
And that's powerful in the workplace. It's powerful in your personal life, any area.
It applies everywhere, yeah. All right, so speaking of applying to lots of areas, I feel like this next law is particularly relevant in today's crazy, fast-changing world. Okay, Law 48, assume formlessness.
Ooh, yes. Adaptability. This is it. This is the core of it. Greene uses this great analogy of water. Think about water. It flows around obstacles. It adapts to any container, and yet it's one of the most powerful forces on the planet.
Right.
Think about a rushing river carving its way through solid rock over time. That is formlessness in action.
It just wears it down, right?
Exactly.
That's relentless. So it's about not being rigid, not getting stuck in our ways, but how do we cultivate that formlessness in like a practical, everyday sense.
Well, I think it starts with the mindset, right? You have to be open to new information, and you have to be willing to challenge your own assumptions. Because the more readily you can adapt to whatever's thrown your way, the better you're going to be at navigating the unexpected. Think about a time when, you were thrown a curveball.
Yeah.
How did you handle that? Did you dig in your heels and say, no, this is how we've always done it? Or were you able to kind of flow with it and adapt your approach?
Those are good questions to think about for sure. So we've explored just a few of these 48 laws of power today, and I think each one of them kind of gives us this really fascinating glimpse into these dynamics of power that are always at play, even if we don't always see them.
Absolutely. And the important thing to remember here is this isn't about manipulating other people. It's really about understanding the rules of the game so we can play it consciously, ethically, and hopefully achieve the outcomes that we're actually looking for in our own lives.
Yeah.
It's about empowerment, not manipulation.
I like that a lot. Knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, I hope everybody listening out there got some really great takeaways today. Certainly did myself. And, next time you find yourself in a situation where it feels like there's, something else going on beneath the surface, maybe crack open those 48 laws of power again and see if one of those laws might apply. You never know. It could give you that little edge to navigate those complexities in a way that feels good for you and helps you achieve what you want.
Absolutely. Be conscious of the game.
Be conscious of the game. I love it. All right. Until next time, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to dive into more book insights, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We're back every Sunday at 9 a.m. with new books and more to learn from. Until next time, take care and keep learning, keep growing.